Okay, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be reviewing the MMA slate for this evening. And unlike several of the past slates that I've gone over, this one seems somewhat straightforward. And what that means, I guess, is that it's hard. It's going to be hard to be different when it comes to playing GPPs. But we're going to try, and there are a couple of things that you can do. So I'm going to review what I'm doing and my view of this whole slate. Excuse me, just my Saturday morning coffee. So again, we always start with which fights are worth targeting, and if there are any really good plays within those target fights, because that's obviously the perfect scenario, is to have a fight that rates to score a lot of points and being on the right side of it. And if you can't be on the right side of it, then you might want to just, play both sides of that fight, maybe not in the same lineup, but, get 50% of each. So again, what we look for are these over-under props, and see which ones are really, really low. So the first thing you notice is one of them has an over-under about pick 'em of 1.5 rounds. So that's this Rosenstreich DeSantos fight. So we're definitely going to be attacking that one. Another one is Burns Pineda, which is again over-under 1.5. So likewise, it's a it rates to finish early, which means it rates to probably score a lot of points. The other one is Daukaus Porter. Again, it's basically even money to go less than 2 rounds. So that's obviously one that you're going to want to target. The other thing you also have to look for, every single week there's been a fight that's been canceled due to COVID or something. So obviously make sure to check your lineups. Then I guess the secondary fights to target are the ones that are 2.5 rounds that are, close to pick 'em. And that would be this TJ Brown Chavez fight. And then maybe this Miller fight against Chevelle, but nothing really exciting. O'Malley Vera. So the other thing to remember is that the main event being 5 rounds, it's a very difficult fight to fade in general, and heavyweights do tend to score quite a bit also. So you're probably going to want to play this fight in all your lineups. So let me do a little bit of a breakdown of the guys that I like, because there's one guy who, although his fight does not rate to finish early, it still could be a very, very strong DraftKings play, and yet something about it just kind of concerns me. So let's get into it. First of all, as I mentioned, Daukaus Porter, you probably want to take both sides in that fight. It's probably two terrible fighters, but they're rates to finish early. So I would take 50% of each of them. Hold on, let me just put this away for a second. Sorry about that. The other one that I was just alluding to is this Merab fight. Now I saw him a month or so ago. He's insane. So he is basically a pure wrestler. He just loves to just take people down, and if they get up, takes them down again. Gets them up, takes them down again. He scored about 150 DraftKings points without even finishing the fight, and that's pretty nasty. I mean that's someone that can kind of mess with people's outlooks in a way, because they'll see this under 2.5 prop and they say, it's probably going to go to the decision. But this guy can rack up so many points that it's not going to matter. You almost want him to go to a decision because it's more time in the ring to get all those takedowns and advances. Now, when I first looked at these matchups, I thought, okay, this is going to be, he's going to be minus 600 and he's a lock and whatever. But he's fighting a guy who's really, really spunky. I mean, he thrives on fighting really tough against people who he's not supposed to fight tough against. So he's a real pain in the neck. He's very quick. He's really, really good at avoiding getting taken down, which I don't want to say provides a matchup problem, but certainly doesn't put Merab in the same, lock situation that he could have been. And he's only a 250 favorite. So to me, it makes it really, really fishy to me. I don't get it. Maybe this Dodson is worth, is really good. And that's why Merab's only a 2-1 favorite. So I still am going to play Merab, but I'll just caution you that, he might not be a lock. He certainly is. He's only 250 favorite, and that it's really, really, really suspicious if you want to know the truth. The other one, I'm probably going to take a stand on this one because I did a little work on this Rosenstreich fight, and apparently DeSantos is like everybody's favorite. Everybody loves him, and I guess that's why the odds are down to 110 or 130. So in situations like that, I just do like to take the lesser loved fighter. I just presume there's kind of like implied, there's implied value in there. So I do have an opinion on Rosenstruck, and I will take more of him than DeSantos, even though I will play both sides of the fight. Two other things. O'Malley Vera. I think that O'Malley might be a little over-owned. I feel as though in this fight, Vera can take him to a decision, and unless O'Malley knocks him out in the first round or two, O'Malley is not going to make the optimal lineup tonight. So while I don't think I'm going to play Vera as an underdog, I do think that I want to fade O'Malley. So that's going to be one kind of stand I take, I suppose. And Cormier Miocic, I really don't have a feel. I'm seeing equal love for both sides, and that's why they're picking. So I'm probably just going to go 50% of each. The thing that's also a little bit concerning is apparently Burns did a really, really terrible performance at the weigh-in. So he was going to be sort of a lock, because he rated to finish the fight early, and he was almost a 3-1 favorite. If I were playing a bunch of lineups, I might end up fading him. Not fading him, just playing a little less of him than I otherwise would. But I don't know if I'm playing enough lineups to get that fancy. But I will say that Burns is a little less of a kind of a lock than I'd let on, or than I was expecting. And the other thing is the pricing is such that you can get in what you want without having to take too many huge chances. Okay, so why don't we go to DraftKings and see if we can't make heads or tails of this. So like right here, like this is, for example, okay, takes this Cormier fight, and it takes one of them. This one has Rosenstreich. This one has Merab. This one has Daukaus over Porter. You could go either way. And this one does go Burns. And then it leaves a little bit. And so the other fight that I mentioned was the Chavez TJ Brown fight. So that's the other one that I might just kind of take a little piece of. But what I'll probably end up doing is really just highlighting these 5 fights and just kind of rotating in some of these other plays, such as Chavez, Brown, Miller, Pichel. Not really taking a big stand on any of them, but just kind of just shuffling them in. So I don't even remember where this one started. So we could start this one by, okay, so let's start again. So this one has Miller in this kind of ancillary spot. So what we can do is we can, instead of Mitch, we could play Pichel here. If you want. Okay. Now again, this is pretty this takes quite a stand, right? Because it really locks in 5 positions. But we can screw around a little bit, right? So like and this other one, for example, this will, if we want to change to Pichel here. Maybe since we have a little more money, maybe we can move this one up to Miocic, right? That makes sense, right? So we can just do that. And then you just keep on just kind of messing around. So you have 50% of Cormier, because that's the thing you have to remember. You got to get 50% of Cormier, right? Miocic, right now I only have 11% of him. So let's see what else you can do. And you want to get, I already have 33% of Porter, which is what I want. Maybe you get a little bit more of him. So let's just see something like this. If we wanted to get more of Porter, and then Miocic. Okay, so now what you end up having to do is go from Brown down to Chavez, and that's fine. You know what I mean? This gets what you need to have done. So with this, you see what I'm doing here. So I'm locking in Burns. I'm locking in Merab. And again, Burns locking him in might be a little bit fishy, but you know what I'm doing? I'm taking a stand and not playing what's his face, O'Malley. So that's gonna be my way of being different, I suppose, in my builds. We can kind of finish this off a little bit. So let's do a little more of. So we're good with Chavez. Maybe we want a little more Brown. I'm not sure, but this actually looks pretty good. So let's just see. Let's put a little more. Can we? Oh, we lose 100 if we do this. You know, you can go back and get more. Whoever Porter was against, right? You can get more Dukakis, and then can you get up to Brown this way? Or do we already have that? You know what you could do? You could play that more Pinchel from that Miller fight. That's another one you could do. So here's another unique lineup you can build. I mean, just for example. So I'll probably screw around with this just a little more, but this is my idea tonight because, again, you know, it is kind of easy to get in whoever you want here. So the way I'm making a stand is I'm just going to be fading O'Malley. That will be my flag that I will plant. And, you know, 50% of these guys make sense to me. I'll go about 50% of that Dukakis Porter fight. And the other places I'll mess around with are the TJ Brown fight, the Jim Miller fight, and maybe I'll find another one. I'm not sure. But I don't think, oh, we got to get some Rosen Street. Do we not have him? No, we have him. We have him just fine. So again, I don't know how much I need to mess around tonight. I do think the slate is okay, easy. It's DFS, nothing's easy, but I do think it's straightforward. And I think that, again, all you got to do is really take one stand, and then you can pretty much get him whoever you want. So we'll see how it goes. With my luck, not with my luck. I mean, who knows? Maybe all the underdogs win tonight. I just don't see that being the case. I'm going to actually predict that there's at least a 20-way tie for first in the big one tonight. That will be my prediction, and that will be my review. And have a good Saturday.